What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Stand Your Ground. I'm your host, as always, Alex Bennison, and I'm joined by both members of the Mighty Whites podcast, Casey and Jack Rupshaw.
No.
Yeah, bud, how's things?
Aye, not bad. I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't get the end-to-end football at Ellen Road like we did at Old Trafford, but still, I'm all right. I'm glad we didn't lose.
We'll come on to it, but I don't know what you're on about. A great game. Wasn't shit at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, before we do our game roundup, we're going to have to talk about that thing from last week. But in good news, the collapse of the European Super League. Way!
Oh, sorry. When you said that thing from last week, I thought you were talking about that what I thought was a mole that I'd found in an inconvenient location. But yeah, the European Super League. That's better.
Yeah. Me and KC might be, well, and you as well, Alex, we might be ranted out because we've done this on our show at Mike White's podcast. But it is very good to see that it is dead. And I say dead, it will then rise like a zombie in a couple of years when they decide they need more money.
You say dead. I say rebranded and not just outside of Europe. Can't wait to see Real Madrid.
The Pan-Continental Schmooper League.
Yeah.
Starting May 26th. Champions League.
Yeah, I can't wait to see game week 3 of Real Madrid versus Inter Miami and Barcelona versus River Plate.
What I would say is, right, obviously that would also be awful, but I would be more interested in that than the European Super League. I'd be more interested in some weird world one than the European one.
It's like a game that's only got very specific licensing.
Lot like Pez.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it all collapsed and died very quickly once. Although the confirmation, I think Chelsea were actually the last ones to get confirmation they were out. But it sounds like Chelsea and Man City were the first ones out, and once they went, it all went very quickly. I don't see how there was any other possible eventuality. The thing that I'm still baffled by is that they don't seem to have actually planned this league at all. They just announced it with no actual structure in place. There was no TV deal in place. There was nothing, and it isn't that I've got all the anger about them trying to ruin football and stuff out of my system, and now I'm just baffled by the incompetence of it all.
Yeah, there seems to be absolutely no contingency plan for everyone thinks this is a terrible idea, so we should just leave now.
Yeah.
Just slowly walk away. Yeah. Florentino, what's that over there? And then they're just running out the door.
Well, Florentino Perez keeps saying, look, they signed a contract. I can't just back out. So I suppose it would be... I think that there should be other sanctions, which we'll probably come on to in a sec. But I think it would be very funny if, for all their incompetence and being involved in this and being money-grubbing bastards, I hope that they all get sued for a few $100 million apiece.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it, even as a Man United fan, for the pure aspect of trying to have this happen. Yeah, fuck them. Take money off them. Bastards.
I'd quite like to see over the few days they've had it in their bank account how much interest JP Morgan have managed to get them for with the was it £5 billion they got together initially or whatever it was.
Yeah. Did you see their statement as well? How bad an idea does it have to be for JP Morgan to be like, oh, sorry.
My bad. Yeah. Perez seems to be the only one who's living and dying by the sword. Not many I know there's 4 teams that are left. The rest of them haven't really said anything, but he keeps swinging. Yeah, stop it. It's already dead.
Yeah. In comparison with Perez, he isn't saying much, but Agnelli at Juve has still been. Their version of saying it's not happening was it's not happening, but you're all wrong. It's a very good idea.
Yeah.
was basically their way of saying it isn't happening.
And I did like the various states of the clubs who did back out and how they were dropping out. Arsenal apparently they weren't big on the idea. They were just afraid of getting left behind. And like, mate, you've just dropped to 10th today.
Yeah,
I think getting left behind might be in the rearview mirror here.
Yeah. So we might as well go on to his game roundup. And I didn't realise there were going to be this many games to talk about. But, we won't
there was a lot of midweek stuff, wasn't there? But it's only like one a night, I think, except for one day.
Yeah, we won't really cover the midweek ones that much.
Yeah.
We'll go straight to
all you need to know is Leeds United defended football's honour admirably.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leeds won, Liverpool won. And when Llorente's header went in, you could hear every football fan worldwide give a little, yes!
Yeah. He wasn't the only person who I saw say sentiments like this, but he's the best example. A mate of ours, Matt Young, is a Bradford City fan. And I got a message off him that just said, I feel sick. What? Why? I want Leeds United to win a football game. and it appears that it was a symptom that was more contagious than COVID because everyone seemed to have this symptom. But it was good to see like a lot of Leeds fans turned out for protest, and more importantly, a lot of Liverpool fans showed up at Ellen Road, which was more necessary for it. And everyone understood that this was about bigger things than that game, and that things needed to be said so that the owners might take notice, so that the players could maybe take a stand. And everyone understood that, with the exception of Jurgen Klopp, who decided that Leeds were being ridiculous and awful, and how dare they leave those protest shirts in our dressing room? Yeah, we wanted you to join in on the fucking protest. How else were we gonna do it?
There's the photo of him like watching Leeds warm up with his arms crossed, and he's kind of like, I want to applaud you, but at the same time, I really can't.
Yeah, I must admit, some of his statements have got a bit better since, because like he did say he was against it and stuff. It wasn't his overall point. I just thought that the way he reacted to it all was, considering the previous behaviour and the way that Klopp has been when it comes to issues like this, I was surprised at how sort of lightly he took it and how much he didn't want to rock the boat at all. Because I still think that he might get the Bayern job. I know that you don't, but I still think he might take it. But it was good to see. It was James Milner after when he got interviewed, just saying, "Yeah, I don't like it, and I hope it doesn't happen." Which was, even though it wasn't strongly worded in terms of aggression, it was a strong enough statement to really drive the point home.
Yeah, we saw it quite a few times in these midweek games of players being interviewed afterwards and giving their opinion. Tuesday's game, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. Not much to say about that.
Not much to say. Yeah, well played, Brighton. Did some good stuff. More importantly, good protest, Chelsea fans. Well done.
And also well done, Brighton, for donning the shirts.
Yeah.
Spurs 2, Southampton 1. Spurs coming back, and Ryan Mason getting his first managerial win.
Busy week for Ryan Mason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but that puts him at a 100% Premier League win record, so I believe that makes him the best manager in the league.
That's how it works.
Youngest.
Yeah, Danny Ings with the goal for Southampton in the first half, and then Bale second half, and then Son with the penalty at the end. Although Southampton looked decent for that opening half an hour, and then for some reason just seemed to go into a shell after they scored.
Yeah, it was them scoring and going into the shell. It was as if Mourinho had taken over Southampton. We've got a goal. Quickly, just sit back and stop doing anything.
Yeah. And then the other game from Wednesday, Villa 1, Man City 2. I don't know what Man City's defence were doing in that opening 20 seconds, but yeah.
They were just completely asleep, weren't they?
Yeah.
Got caught completely. I mean, when McGinn runs into box there, it isn't just that he gets free. It's that he gets free so easily. Like, he just runs in a straight line and everyone goes, oh no, he scored.
There goes John McGinn. Let's see what he can do. Huh.
And then someone that I think we'll be talking about a bit later, Phil Foden, looking like a world beater.
Yeah, he's a relatively good footballer.
Yeah. But again, we have to talk about Fernandinho, who decided he was taking the post-match interview to speak out about the European Super League, and then Pep Guardiola giving him a big hug afterwards, congratulating him on stepping up and speaking out.
Yeah, I was amazed that I was really surprised that like Pep was more outspoken than Klopp. Like, I would have fully expected that to be the other way around.
Yeah. And I see. I can understand what you mean, but I also think Pep is that kind of person who he lives and breathes football to the extent of he does not want to see it change whatsoever. This is football to him, and this is what he wants it to be forever.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, like, I mean, Pep's a bit weird because he's quite outspoken on some charitable things and then completely silent on other things because it contradicts the ownership and stuff, and it's a bit all over the shop. And again, I say it all the time, football turns us all into hypocrites, me included. But it just some of it doesn't sit great.
Yeah. And then we were talking about him last week. We were saying, did we think West Brom's next run of games could have seen them claw their way out of relegation? No. Leicester 3, West Brom 0.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't just that it was an easy win for Leicester. Like, West Brom offered. They were so bad in this game. It could have easily been a lot more than this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, they've had so many chances, and they did have a fair few. It's just that it was so easy for them. Like, they just put them under zero pressure on the ball the entire game. And for what it's worth, they're 1-0 down to Villa as well, West Brom.
Well, there's your update. Then, right, we'll talk about Friday's games in a bit more in-depth.
Yeah, we can call this the weekend now.
Yeah. Arsenal 0, Everton 1. Should we talk about that penalty and offside first?
Yeah, well, I think that pretty much every bit of this pissed me off. The penalty that got given in the box, I think that that's a dive anyway. It's such a light touch on his leg, chucks himself over. I think that's a dive. So it's gone to VAR, gets given as a penalty. So I think that's wrong. But then VAR checks the offside. And look, we've seen this like 10 times. I don't give a shit what level. That's not offside. It's not just not offside, he's half a yard on.
Yeah.
And this one was, in terms of it being tight, I think that this one might be. This one, was it Mane against Everton, who was literally by like the threads of his shirt off?
Yeah.
I think they're the worst two, even including the Bamford pointing one. This looked just as onside as that. And as much as the pointing thing is stupid, at least there was some bit of his body ahead of the line. There was none on this one. Absolutely nothing.
See, VAR knows that pointing is rude, and you're not allowed to do that. Therefore, no goal.
It was just a joke of a decision.
I've been thinking about this decision quite a bit, and the only thing that I can think is they gave the penalty, but that actually is a dive, though, isn't it? Check for offside. Just have a look. Oh, yeah, say it's offside.
Yeah, it was almost as if it was a way out, wasn't it? I should mention, because I mentioned it with the others, Arsenal fans, also pretty good protest. Solid work. It was the first time there's been an atmosphere at the Emirates in about 8 years, I think. And the other thing with it is, obviously, it is hilarious the number of them that have had bad results afterwards.
It's like the number of teams that have a bad result after playing Leeds. They just see this lot fall.
Yeah, because Leeds run themselves into the ground, and they could never do it for a full season. No, teams just can't do it for the game afterwards. And then we'll talk about the goal. Bert Leno, I'm still not sure how he did it, but putting that into his own net got me a Richarlison assist on Fantasy League, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I would describe as a properly hilarious piece of goalkeeping, because I always like a goalkeeping error where it would have been better to do nothing. Because I think it would have just run straight across. Those are my favourite ones.
I just liked, because as it sort of reaches Leno, I'm pretty sure it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin kind of looks across, or starts to look across and opening his arms, giving it one of those, mate, I'm here. And then midway through, it's like, oh, it's gone in.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do now.
That is one of those ones where, had there been fans in the stadium, the celebrations would have been 2.5, 3 seconds late.
Yeah.
Everyone would have gone, oh. Hey!
Yeah. That one Everton fan. Richarlison, you're greedy. Yes!
Get in.
And you could tell Leno's reaction of he got up, he went to his defenders and just yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I did see someone saying after, because there was obviously, and rightly so, a lot of Arsenal fans being very, very, very annoyed at the level of performance and stuff. Newcastle have scored more goals at home this season than Arsenal have. That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also quite funny.
Yeah. Is Arteta definitely going to be all right? Is he definitely going to keep his job?
No.
I don't know. I feel like he's got another few months in him at least.
Oh, I definitely think he'll make the end of the season. But
does he see Christmas?
They've sacked others for a lot for not being anywhere near as low, and I would argue that they did it with worse squads.
If they don't get through the semi-finals of the Europa League, yes, he gets sacked at the end of the season.
Yeah, I didn't factor that in actually. Yeah.
If Unai Emery comes to the Emirates and puts Villarreal through, he gets sacked.
Yeah, I mean, if they could win the Europa League and end up in the Champions League at the end of this season. You see, that's a hilarious don't deserve to be in the Champions League I can get behind, because they won something to do it.
Yeah. Arsenal 11th with 5 games left to go. A point behind you.
Oh, I was gonna say I thought they were 10th, but because Villa are 1-0 up, they'll be above them, won't they?
Yeah, as it stands. If everything goes as it stands. Also, while looking at the table, it does look weird to see you with a goal difference of 0.
Yep. Is it scored 50, conceded 50?
Yeah.
Yep. Because we're fun. As much as we weren't today, we're fun.
We'll get on to that. But speaking of people who are fun, Steve Bruce's Newcastle picking up a 1-1 draw against Liverpool. And let's be honest, if Callum Wilson's goal, which should have stood, they'd have got to win.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool were the better side. They created more chances. But Liverpool's defending in this game was dreadful. If they'd have defended like this against a decent side, they'd have conceded 4 goals. Just back off. Give them all the space in the world to play a pass, and don't track the runner from midfield ever. Like, Sean Longstaff got in behind about 3 times, but should have got in behind about 9. He just kept making the same run. And because Liverpool played Firmino, Jota, Mane and Salah, they were just a man short, and every time he just sat off running, they just let him go.
Yeah.
It was such bad defending. It was also bad management to leave it as long as they did. Now, they should have scored 3 themselves, should Liverpool, but they could have easily conceded that many the way they defended.
Yeah, the funny thing with Liverpool is that in terms of XG and chances created per 90, they are almost identical to what they had last season. They are still creating as many chances as they did. Salah's had a good season. He's on 20 goals for the season, I think. But they're just not scoring enough. That's their problem now. When you've got a flimsy defense like that, you can somewhat get away with it if you're still putting 2 or 3 away in games like that. But they're not, and fuck them.
So just to say, Villa's goal was a penalty. If it was a penalty, West Brom have just got a penalty, and it looked incredibly soft. Like Konsa just put his hand somewhere near Maitland-Niles, and he just fell over.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Liverpool's regression, it's gone, obviously the injuries don't help and stuff, but Liverpool's regression was somewhat to be expected. Like, they really did run hot last season. In terms of, like, compared to the underlying numbers, they really ran higher than that in almost every metric. So them falling away a bit is to be expected.
Yeah.
Just not as much as they have.
Well, Salah being second in the table, second for the Golden Boot with 20 goals, only 1 behind Harry Kane, does show you that probably at the back that they're lacking. And yes, they are missing Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk. Alisson's not been up to scratch this season. He's been nowhere near what he was last year. But the defence that they've got, you'd still think they'd be at least pushing for Champions League. I think that Kabak's a decent player. However, I don't think they'll sign him on a permanent.
It depends how big the fee is. If it's like 20 million or less, I think they probably will. Because as daft as it sounds, that's not much money to Liverpool, and they might sign him and just look. And if all the defenders come back, they might just loan him out.
Just going back to their goal scoring as well. Just looking at the league table from last year, they finished last season off with 85 goals. They are currently 30 behind that with 5 games left. Like it's a fairly dramatic drop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salah seems to be the one player that you can't say has had... He's not had as prolific as a season as he had last year, but he's not been far off. But you look at the other two of Mane and Firmino, they've really struggled this year.
Yeah, like, obviously Firmino is more than goals. I do understand that argument with him, and I actually agree with it for the most part. But I think this season, in all facets, I think his link-up play hasn't been as good as it was. And, I mean, he's at some... His goal-scoring record is, like, a lot poorer than it should be, even though his main thing is probably... if his main thing is setting up Salah and Mane, he should still have better than 6 goals in 31 games. Playing in that role. Even if his main role isn't goal-scoring, which is fine, he should have more than he does.
Yeah.
I think if I was picking that team, I honestly think now I'd be Salah, Mane and Jota.
Yeah. To be honest, at this rate, I think maybe Salah, Firmino and Jota, because Mane just does not seem to be anywhere near what he's capable of.
His form recently is... I mean, there was a point like last year and late the season before where he was playing as well as almost anyone, definitely in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But his form is not what it was. The ridiculous thing is that they're still not out of it. I mean, they're only 4 points behind Chelsea in fourth. Like,
yeah.
They could yet get away with this. And I mean, you know, as much as they've done the Super League thing, if West Ham are going to fall away and not get it, I'd rather Liverpool than Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like Chelsea.
So we already alluded to it. Callum Wilson's handball. Not handball.
It's not, but according to the rules, yes, it is.
Yeah, right. That will end that there.
Yeah, the rules are stupid. Like, I hate this because I'm going to have to jump forward, but like they have still got that thing at the moment of if it hits your arm at all and it directly leads to a goal, it's handball. So it gets disallowed. It's a stupid rule, and they know it's a stupid rule because they're stopping using it at the end of this season. They're binning that rule off. So they know it's a bad rule. But I hate this double standard for attackers and defenders. Because, like, for instance, I don't think that one against Luke Shaw was a penalty today against Leeds.
Yeah.
But Luke Shaw's handball was way more avoidable than Callum Wilson's was.
Yeah.
So, like, how Wilson's can be and Luke Shaw's isn't just really doesn't sit well with me. It's just, it's massively overcomplicating the rules for no reason.
Yeah. So, moving on to a Champions League, maybe a Champions League deciding game of West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. Timo Werner with the goal, but also with a horrendous miss.
I haven't seen much of this one, I have to be honest.
Well, it's Timo Werner being Timo Werner.
No, he's just going to keep trying.
Yeah, him doing him having bad misses is nothing new. It's just that we're not getting the strong side of his game that we saw at Leipzig all season last year. I'm guessing Alex is dead, or I'm dead.
No, I think you're good, and Alex may have fallen asleep.
Yeah, right. But no, as I said, I didn't get to see a great deal of this game because, and I won't be alone in this. We were allowed to go out and have a drink, and the weather was nice, so I didn't see as much of this one. It's a very disappointing result for West Ham though, because the thing with West Ham, the form that they were in and stuff, and getting right up there, I can see a team like that holding on to the Champions League place. I can't see them catching up and taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be good if they could do it, but I don't see it now. Them couple of losses have really hurt them.
Yeah, and then we also got the another interesting red card decision in this one.
Yeah, the Balbuena red card. This is, I mean, the Cooper one. He plays the ball and catches him after. When we played West Ham, and when we played Man City, and you see stuff like that. This one is so much worse than that in terms of how bad a decision it is. Because this isn't even like diving into intercept and clear. He just plays the ball forward.
Yeah, he literally just kicks. He just kicks the ball upfield, and because he is like any other footballer, he doesn't just stop his foot as soon as he kicks the ball.
Because that borders on physically impossible.
Yeah, his foot carries on, and it does hit a Chelsea player. But
yeah, it'll have been a sore one, like
yeah.
you know. But I would say that it's not even a foul. Never mind a red card. But it's not just that it's happened. It's that it's happened in a VAR world. It's not just one referee seeing it wrong. Where it would, I say it all the time, but I could live with it. As bad a decision as it would be, I could live with it if just a referee has seen it wrong. Oh no, but this is several people seeing it wrong all at once, who are all communicating with each other. It's just fucking ridiculous.
But then it happens again later in the game, and absolutely nothing is given. And even David Moyes just said, "Look, if you're going to send one off, you've got. I don't want any of my players sent off, but if you're going to send one off, you've got to send them both off, right?"
Yeah.
Like it was just the inconsistency of something that is meant to have brought consistency to the Premier League.
Yeah, but it's done the opposite. It has definitely made it worse.
It's outstanding in a sense that we have this thing that can help us look at decisions and review it, and it has made things so much worse.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, they're now 3 points ahead of West Ham, 4 ahead of Liverpool, 5 ahead of Spurs. They're only 6 points ahead of Everton. If Everton win their game in hand, that could get interesting.
Yeah,
if Everton win their game, they're level on points with West Ham. So that'd be interesting.
As I look at West Ham's fixtures here, they've got Burnley next, then Everton, Brighton, West Brom, and Southampton. So they've probably got, without looking at the other teams, that sounds like it's probably the most favourable of the run-ins.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad one. Do you think anyone's going? Do you think that anyone gets in the top 4 that isn't in it now? Man City, Man United. Obviously, I think they might even be mathematically done, and then Leicester and Chelsea.
I really want West Ham to do it, but I could well see it finishing this way.
Yeah.
Just looking at Chelsea's fixtures. What have they got? Fulham next. Obviously, Real Madrid. I'll say they've got Real Madrid, Fulham, Real Madrid again, Man City away.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Leicester, and then Aston Villa. So they've got an interesting run in. I know the way Chelsea are playing; those are all winnable games for. Well, apart from Man City, I think is probably going to be a lot closer. But
it'll probably be Man City with bordering on nothing to play for. You would think.
Yeah, it's it does make things interesting though for the running. Let's see what West Ham have got. Where you look there and think they could get a decent haul from those last 5 games.
Yeah, it's definitely a much easier running than Chelsea. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Last game from yesterday, which again I only watched the brief highlights of because I don't know, there was so little in this game. But Sheffield United won, but Brighton 0. It's a shame Fulham have dropped off so badly because Brighton have had a really good go at getting relegated. Like Brighton's ability to create lots of chances and not defend that badly and still have a really good go at getting relegated is quite impressive.
Yeah, it's one of those results that you just kind of have a little chuckle to yourself when you hear it, just because it is a completely useless result for both teams. Obviously, I can't see the bottom 3 changing at this point, but it's a poor result for Brighton, and it is a completely pointless win for Sheffield United at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it is pointless for Sheffield United.
I've never seen a group of players celebrate a goal less than when McGoldrick scored. Just like, yay!
Brighton can technically go down because they're 7 points clear with 5, and there's 5 games left. But the form they're in now, I can't see Fulham winning enough to do anything about it.
Yeah.
West Brom either.
And that's us covering all the weekend fixtures. Thanks for coming back, Alex, to do the outro.
Yeah. I've got nothing to add to that.
No. Yeah, it wasn't much of a game.
No,
now we've got Sunday.
Yeah. Who would have thought the most exciting game on Sunday would have been Wolves versus Burnley?
If I remember hearing this right, the first half hat trick since Michael Owen in 1998.
Yeah, Michael Owen for Liverpool away at Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah, which I remember that game, but in my head that was not as long ago as 1998.
No,
Like it just
Alex wasn't even alive.
Hey, I was alive. I was a year old, but I was alive.
Oh Jesus, I was joking as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Chris Wood. I know people take the piss out of Chris Wood. He's Burnley's big brute striker. Hit the ball up to him. Hopefully, he'll win a header and score. But his first goal was really well taken, and he just I can't remember if it was Connor Cody or if it was Bolly that he just sent it to the shops. Just put it through him twice.
Well, he's got plenty of ability. When he's confident, he's a really good finisher. Like we at Leeds, we got both versions of Chris Wood. We got a bit of a lump up front, not really much of an all-round game, Chris Wood, and then we got 30 goal a season in the Championship. Really quite clinical at times, Chris Wood. He seems to be in really good form. Like was it last week? Was it last week the Burnley Man United game? Yeah. Where I know that Man United got the result, but Chris Wood was excellent up top. Like he played really well. So then today, for him to do it again, pick up that hat trick, and like I don't think they're in any danger anyway. But that basically means Burnley are safe.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there wasn't going to be any way that Burnley had such a collapse that they were going to go down.
Oh.
But they're another one of those teams that just seem to keep clinging on and clinging on. But if you'd have watched them today, you wouldn't have thought that. They played Wolves off the park, and I would have expected it to have been the other way around.
Yeah, this was it was like one of those perfect storm ones in that Burnley played really, really well and Wolves were abysmal. Like some of Wolves' performances this season have been so poor. I know they've been a bit unlucky with injuries and stuff, but they need to do some stuff in the summer. Otherwise, I could see them being in trouble next year, the way it's going.
Yeah. To go from, what were they, Europa League semi-finals, quarter-finalists, to second half table Premier League side.
I mean, they're only 12, like they're only 6 points behind us, but it's just the level of performances. Some of them have been really poor, and even the ones where they've got results, a lot of them, the performances have been poor.
Yeah.
So, like, they shouldn't end up in any trouble, but it's just the way that they're starting to slide. It wouldn't shock me unless they do some clever business in the summer.
That's when they get Cristiano Ronaldo in.
And Jose Mourinho as manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him and Nuno as co-managers that would completely not coexist.
Yeah.
No, you see, COVID has meant that Nuno he's homesick, so he's linked with the Tottenham job.
Have we any thoughts as to who's going to get that?
What, the Spurs job?
Yeah.
Well, I was having this conversation today about, Daniel Levy's not going to pay to get anybody out of a job. So who's a manager who's not currently with a club? And the first person that came to mind is Sarri.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, he'll be able to go after Paul Heckingbottom.
Oh, Chris Wilder.
I'd like to see that. That'd be really interesting.
Chris Wilder with a budget.
Chris Wilder or Slaven Bilic.
Yeah.
Falling upwards.
I mean, I'm guessing that they'll probably have a word and try and get Nagelsmann, but I don't think he'd go.
No.
Bob Bradley. Give him another go.
I don't want to see Bob Bradley managing the Premier League ever again. That Swansea team.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was horrendous. Am I right in thinking he was did he have... No, he was way before Renato Sanchez went there on loan.
Yeah.
So, onto the game that everyone has been waiting for all weekend. Leeds United 0, Man United 0.
It was a scrappy game.
Yeah, well, you hear 0-0 and bad game, and you think, oh, I bet this was really defensive. But it wasn't defensive. There was just zero quality. KC, you might want to tilt your camera because you've got such bad lens flare that you can barely see you.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, like it wasn't a lack of attacking intent. Even like Leeds were pushed back for the most part in this game, just because we sort of ended up having to be. It wasn't. I don't think we wanted to be as much as we were, but it was just a lack of quality. I don't think I've seen us pass the ball that badly all season. And a lot of the time in key areas, Man United weren't much better. I think like the worst example I can think of was you played there was a really good through ball that and like both Dan James and Bruno Fernandes were clean for one goal. Either one of them. And they just like left it to each other and Luke Ayling just walked across and cleared it. There was just bad decision making, missed kicks of the ball. There was just everything really. And the only people that played well were the defenders.
Yeah, that chance that you're speaking about there, you could just see like it summed Bruno Fernandes' game up of Dan James took a touch. Right, you're going to have it. And James went, no, Ayling's going to have it. Just, fuck's sake.
Like, that was pretty much the only time Bruno Fernandes got away from Calvin Phillips, I think.
I did like that line of commentary. I think when he was taking the free kick, and they said this is the furthest away that Calvin Phillips has been from Bruno Fernandes all game.
Yeah.
And it's only because he has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one point, I think they were talking about it as we were taking a throw in, and you could just see Calvin Phillips and Bruno having a bit of a laugh about it. Ball gets thrown in, and then Calvin just put him on his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck off. But no, Jamie Carragher kind of summed this game up for me by him just laughing halfway through, like just some of the passes. There was one where Ayling tried to play a cross-field ball.
Or the one outside of his foot.
And he didn't even get to the centre of the park before someone picked it up. And Jamie Carragher just went, what was that?
Well, it was one of them. I mean, we've all done it. But he went to hit it outside of his foot, and he didn't even accidentally hit it with his laces and hit it straight. He went to hit it outside of his foot and hit it with the inside of his foot. He missed his target by about 50 yards. It was horrendous. But the defending was good, and that was something for us to take out of it as Leeds fans because, like, you know, when you consider how we were at the start of the season when we didn't have any defenders fit, we are much better now that we do. And Diego Llorente and Pascal Struijk at centre-back were both excellent. And Calvin Phillips was brilliant as well. So, although I couldn't really say anything positive about anyone in attack. I thought as defensively we were really good.
Yeah, I think Manchester United will look back on this and be a little bit disappointed that for all the ball retention that they had and the significantly more chances, there's not really too many times when Meslier was troubled.
Yeah, there's only one save that he made that I'd class as a good save, and it was the one from the Rashford free kick. All the other saves he made were simple ones that, like, any keeper in league should make.
Yeah, and I think there was also the number of times when there was just another Leeds player in the way to block it, or I think you had that one where Dan James was down the middle and kind of couldn't get his feet sorted, and Alioski just nips it off him. Where I also saw Alioski going behind him to try and win this ball, and just thought, oh god, this is going to be a penalty. Yeah,
there were a couple of like you said with that free kick, that Rashford free kick. When at first I went, oh, it's a right save, is that? And then when they showed the replay and how central it went, it really did look like a TV dive of, I'm going to get a fist to this, but it's going to look good. And then I think it was first half where there was a tackle put in on Dan James by Struijk, and all parts of me went, God, he's gone down a bit easily there. And then they showed the replay of him just standing square on his foot as he's tried to turn. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you didn't dive like that all the time, then people wouldn't have so little sympathy for you.
Dan James is never going to bother me in terms of that because he shares a pitch with Bruno Fernandes. And like today, Leeds did commit a shed load of fouls. Like, they definitely did. But I think it was 21 fouls Leeds committed, I read somewhere, which by our standards is a really lot.
Mm.
And a lot of them, even the ones that were fouls, it just bugged me, the fucking rolling around on the floor. It was so much worse than in many games. And it was nearly always Bruno Fernandes pissing me off of it. The worst one was that one at the corner where Alioski put his arm near him and he just collapsed onto the floor.
Yeah.
And they were laughing at him on commentary. That's how bad the dive was. And because he's a great player, but God, he's if I could punch one footballer, it might be him.
Next week's topic: starting 11 footballers you'd like to punch in the face.
Holding midfield, Carl Henry.
Yeah. # content.
It was quite interesting. There was about a 5-minute period as well when there was a few in the second half when tackles just started flying in. Just everyone taking the opportunity to slide in for a tackle, which I quite like to see. It was a bit of a 90s throwback. There was again quite a few things I thought the referee missed. I mean, chuffing Wan-Bissaka just assaulting Helder Costa on the touchline. Just no, Helder Costa's oh, my hip.
Yeah, shout out from Jamie Carragher to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Like he'd do anything resembling a German suplex.
I think he meant more Helder Costa in his hip.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Helder Costa.
Yeah, he wasn't good today, but oh well.
No, yeah, it wasn't a good day for our wingers.
Yeah. I was going to say, so 3 people for me stood out in this, and 2 of them being Leeds players. I think Struijk played absolutely out of his skin at centre-back. It's one of the best games I've seen Struijk play. And obviously Calvin Phillips holding Bruno Fernandes and just not letting him go. But I also think...
See, when you say it like that, it sounds so romantic.
But I also think Ayling had a good game, minus a few misplaced passes.
He had a very good defensive game, but by his standards going forward, he wasn't at his best.
And Harry Maguire picking up his 10th yellow card of the season and becoming the first player to reach 10 yellow cards this season.
Have we gone past the cut-off yet for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It seems really late, though, for somebody to only just reach 10 yellow cards.
Yeah, there's time. We need Lee Catmull back.
That'd be 10 red cards.
I don't know. First season, Pontus Jansson. That man racked up yellow cards like no one's business.
The actual best one is Ben Pearson, who I keep wanting to say Ben Pearson at Preston, but he moved in January, didn't he?
Liverpool's Ben Pearson, I believe.
Yeah, he's at Bournemouth now.
Oh, sorry.
Davies is at Liverpool.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and obviously the only other Premier League game that's taking place at the moment is Villa West Brom. That's 1-1 at half time.
2 penalties.
Yeah. So, Ryan Mason's second senior managerial game. Carabao Cup final against Man City.
Now, I'm going to speak on some authority here as someone who, on Football Manager, did move from Leeds to West Ham in one game, and my first game in charge was the FA Cup final. So I feel I can see what this would have been like for Ryan Mason.
You and Ryan Mason alike.
Yeah. It's sad to believe there is a Premier League manager that is younger than I am.
Yeah.
But I was in and out of this game because I had a few bits and pieces to do. But Jesus, Man City didn't half start with some intent.
Yeah, it's fair to say they were on top. Like it wasn't just the first half especially, but the entire way through, they were just miles the better side. I was a bit disappointed with how little threat Tottenham offered in this.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Mason isn't exactly going to come in and a team that's been coached by Mourinho all year and just come in and go, right, I know I'm younger than half here, but we're going to start playing some swashbuckling attacking football now. Like, you're not going to have time to do things like that. But it's a cup final. You're playing Man City. You're going to have to score a goal if you want a chance. It's very rare that Man City don't score, so you're going to have to score a goal, and they never once looked like they would.
I reckon he rocks up in his first training session. He went, right, boys, we're going to watch some classic tapes of games gone past where I took part. There's me. There's Jimmy Bullard. There's Dean Windass. Look at the attacking play. Son, I want you to be our Jimmy Bullard.
Yeah, they offered so little, and if Man City's finishing and like final pass had been better, they really could have absolutely walked this. Like the first 15 minutes, I mean, they realistically could have been 3-up in 15 minutes for where the balance of this game went. It was just they'd press, and Tottenham had just give them the ball and let them run in behind.
Yeah,
it was considering it only finished 1-0, it was barely a contest.
Yeah, I mean the stats do tell the tale of the tape. 21 shots to 2. But City did only manage to put 4 on target.
Yeah, Man City only scoring 1 had much more to do with them than it did Tottenham. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Laporte and how he shouldn't have been on the pitch for the goal that he scored. Because he did do a cynical foul and it should have been a yellow card. And then he did another one later and got a yellow card. But there's a lot of people going, oh, he shouldn't be on the pitch. But it's a bit disingenuous because if he is booked for the first one, he doesn't make that second one.
Yeah.
He only made that cynical foul because he hadn't been booked. So he wouldn't have got that second yellow anyway. It had just been booked 15 minutes earlier. It was bad refereeing. And to be honest, I don't think he had a very good game all the way through, that referee. He looked really nervous. I don't know if it was just because it was his first cup final or because of the incredibly intimidating atmosphere that 8,000 fans, 4,000 of them neutrals, were able to put him under so much stress. But yeah, like if you get a chance and you're in a cup final, you've got to have something of a go, and Spurs just didn't.
Yeah, it's disappointing when you've got that attacking talent that just never got any of them in the game. I know City are in a brilliant bit of form, minus a little blip they had a couple of weeks ago against a 10-man team, and I think they might still be feeling the ill effects of the running they put into that one. I think that's why John Stones is actually out still. Yeah. He's so tired from the yards he covered and trying to chase Stuart Dallas. What were we talking about again? Sorry, I've drifted off here.
Yeah, there's 3 stats that I want to take a look at. City's XG to Tottenham's XG of City with 3.63 and Tottenham's of 0.06.
Jesus, that's a one-sided game.
Was that 0.06 a back pass?
Just that one shot on target that they had. Guardiola becomes the 4th manager to win the League Cup 4 times. The others are Brian Clough, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Jose Mourinho. And
he's always there, is Jose. He's always there.
And City becoming the 2nd team to win it for the 4th time in consecutive seasons. other than Liverpool.
It's really
they
funny.
did it in like the 80s, didn't they?
It's really funny to think of a competition that every time in the last couple of weeks I've heard someone refer to it as the first major cup competition of the year, and I think major.
Well, I believe it technically, although I've seen it all over Twitter described as one, I am fairly sure that technically it does not count as a major competition.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure that it hasn't recently, and that's not just to undermine Duncan Alexander's stat, because I don't mind things like this. Phil Foden is nearly 21, and he has, if we're counting the League Cup, he has won as many major honours as Leeds United now. Which, you know, it doesn't bother me. It's fine. It's quite a good stat. The other thing to come out of this was that Harry Kane's last shot at winning a trophy at Spurs.
I mean, whether he stays there or not, yes.
Either Alex is high or he's gone again.
That's a great image. Yeah, I mean, whether he stays there or not, there's an argument that could be his last shot at a trophy with Spurs. I still think I'm now on the side of I could see him leaving, but I don't think he'll go abroad.
Yeah. Well, we were on about it the other day, away, not on a podcast, and I was saying how if they really gambled, I actually could see Man United pulling that transfer off, as much as I don't want to see it. But one thing that I did see a Spurs fan saying is, look, there was like a Spurs fan who was going, look, I wouldn't even begrudge him if he did go now. He's given us so long. He needs to be winning stuff. I can understand it. But the whole reason that the Super League nearly happened is because every major club is in mountains of debt, and after COVID year, people have less money. Who's going to be able to afford him? He's still got like 4 years left on his contract. And I did think, yeah, maybe, because one thing that we know about Daniel Levy is he's not going to go, oh, you want to go? All right, I'll drop the price to like 120 million, man. He'll go, no, 200 million, pay it or fuck off. So I wonder if just the stubbornness of Levy, when it's his right to do so, will keep him there for another year. But I can't see him winning out.
No. I think for however Spurs do now, a lot of it depends on who they can get in as a manager. We've seen with them having Jose in that they've had someone who I don't know whether this is fair to say or not, was a winner and has been trading off past glories. Suck cat.
Yep.
But do they now need to go after someone who is still kind of in their prime? Like, I fully understood why Spurs went after Mourinho, but I always felt by the time he left Man United that man's passion for management had gone.
Yeah, I think his last 3 jobs now, he's left him in a worse position when he joined. Like, not even necessarily in the league, I just mean as a club. And I don't think he's the one that you want now. That's why, if they could get Nagelsmann, that's who they should get, because he's good and he's still on the way up. There's a lot of the Spurs fans want Bielsa, but that won't happen in a million years. That's not his way.
No.
I guess that Alex is back and now it seems to be working. I'm guessing he's on his phone by the sound.
He's just a floating head in a void.
Yeah. The only other thing that I think we said we were going to talk about is that Norwich and Watford have been promoted.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the top 6 of the Championship because it's confirmed the 4 teams that will be in the playoffs and the 2 that are coming up. Watford will finish second. Norwich aren't going to lose all the games now and Watford somehow win the league. So your top 2 of Norwich and Watford, but then to see Brentford, Bournemouth, Swansea and Barnsley as your top 6, it's been a bit of a strange Championship season.
Yeah, well, I mean, Norwich, they've done that thing that a lot of teams talk about, like, well, we'll go up, we won't spend a lot, but we'll be able to keep it together. And they've actually done it. They've kept the players. They benefited from the short sort of COVID summer because I think a full summer, I don't think they'd have been able to hang on to maybe Aaron's and almost certainly Buendia. I think someone would have bought him. Like I wanted us to get Buendia. Like he'd have been perfect for us.
If only Max Aarons had gone on loan to Barcelona.
Yeah, that would have been a weird deal, wouldn't it? But them going up with it was a good side in the Championship. They went up, they came back down, and it was still a good side in the Championship. They've been managed well, good director of football, fair play. Watford's squad was just absolutely insane for the Championship. It's a good job.
Yeah.
It's a good job for them to come back straight away because the wage bill must be absolutely astronomical in that division. But
yeah,
but because they have come straight back up, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. The money that they lost, they will get back in TV money next year. But the play, obviously, on principle, it should just be the top 3 goes off because playoffs are stupid and American. However, they're also really fun.
Yeah.
So the Championship playoffs will probably be great to watch. Who have you got going up?
KC?
My heart is for Barnsley to go up because I think it will be a great story. My head is telling me Swansea. I don't know why. I just quite like how I've even forgotten what their manager is called now.
What, Barnsley?
No, at Swansea.
Oh, it's Mark Cooper in it.
That's the one. I quite like Mark Cooper. I like how Swansea played the last couple of years. So I wouldn't mind seeing them come back.
Or is it?
Oh
no. Mark Cooper's the one that was at Forest Green. What's his name? The Swansea manager. Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper is the Swansea manager. Mark Cooper's the one that. Why did the ex-Forest Green manager come into my head before the Swansea one?
I don't know.
That's a weird one.
Part of me really wants to say, this will be the year Brentford finally go up. But you just can't trust them in the playoffs. And as boring as it is to say, I think we are just going to end up doing a switch and Bournemouth are just going to go back up. And we're going to have the same 3 teams come back up that went back down.
I've got Bournemouth as being similar to Leicester in as much as that they are a good team. I like watching them. But there's always a defeat in there where they shouldn't lose. There's just always one around the corner, and I feel that's where, at the weekend, obviously, yesterday, lost 1-0 to Brentford when they were down to 10 men for most of the second half.
But you'd have thought, with the way that Sky have been banging on about them, that they'd be top of the league. The way they've been talking about Billing and Dominic Solanke, and they've been absolutely raving about how great Bournemouth have been this season. But they're still only just they're just playoffs. And the 4th, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, although those individual players might have been decent, but Bournemouth themselves, I would have thought would have been top 2. I'd have said Watford and Bournemouth should have been top 2 at the start of this season.
The one reason I would like to see Bournemouth go up is I'd like Johnny Woodgate to be successful, obviously, because of his links to Leeds, and also for the bus he was thrown under at Middlesbrough. See this Tony Pulis team? Yeah, get them playing football. We've got no money for you to spend on getting new players in, but, get them long ball merchants playing some nice football. It's not going well. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do to replace you. We'll get Neil Warnock and he'll get them playing some nice football. So I'd quite like to see Johnny Woodgate because I think he's just there till the end of the season as it stands.
I believe so, yeah. But you would think if he does get him up, you'd think he'd probably get the job.
Yeah.
Either that or they'll be the most Bournemouth thing in the world and they'll just get Eddie Howe again.
He's just had a year on holiday.
By the way, just to say before I do that, they're absolutely definitely not getting enough points. West Brom just went 2-1 up at Villa Park. I'm going all in on them. Come on, Valerian Ismail. Come on, the Tykes. Come on, Barnsley.
I can't wait for that Yorkshire derby.
I'd love Barnsley to go up. And we'll definitely get beat at Oakwell, by the way, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'd still like Barnsley to go up.
Yeah, it would kind of be in this era of the Premier League where the gulf in finance is so huge to see Barnsley go up.
What will Barnsley do with 120 million quid's worth of TV money?
Cocaine and hookers.
Like,
buy some electricity.
Like it's gonna be. It'd be they like
install
Barnsley,
indoor plumbing.
Barnsley, in terms of just the facilities and everything, would they be the team that least fits the modern Premier League? Now, off the field, they're very well run now, but like they just don't fit at all, and that's why I want them there.
I know there's a bit of a gap now, but in terms of modern day Premier League, who is the bigger of these two, Barnsley or Blackpool?
I would say Barnsley is bigger than Barnsley. They're definitely a bigger club, but at the point that they were up, Blackpool, like in terms of sort of facilities and stuff, I would bet that they were higher than Barnsley at that point.
And Blackpool was so unfortunate to go down that season as well. And then it went from bad to worse for them.
They weren't unfortunate. They got Luke Varney in on loan. They loaned him up a league. Luke fucking Varney. I know this isn't the Mighty Whites podcast, but Luke fucking Varney.
You know, Man United being those absolute bastards. We'd already won the league and Blackpool only needed to win. Final game of the season. Just let them have it. No,
that's
4-2.
like when I think it was the first time Bolton ever got relegated. The last game was away at Chelsea. And like I think it was 1-0 Chelsea at the time. And Bolton were really going for it and like really pushing and getting back in the game. And Chelsea got the ball and went to break to make it 2-0. And the Chelsea fans started booing them. We're like, no, let them have it. They're playing really well.
We've already won the league. Just leave it.
I mean, I've just started looking at this Blackpool squad. The one thing I will give Blackpool credit for is if you ever go on Wikipedia, I challenge you to find a squad that has more British players in it than Blackpool's squad did. Like, yeah, it's mostly English players.
You have to remember that their extravagant flair player was Charlie Adam.
Yes. Oh Christ, Stephen Craney made it to the Premier League. They signed DJ Campbell.
Were they?
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say, were they the ones that had the strike partnership of DJ Campbell and Marseille legend? What was he called? Steve.
Did Stephen Fletcher play for Blackpool?
Yeah, was it Stephen Fletcher?
No, they had Gary Taylor Fletcher.
Christ.
That's it. Yeah.
I also have no memory of them having James Beattie on loan from Rangers.
No, I don't remember that either.
No.
What a strange time in football.
What a strange way to end a podcast by talking about Ian Holloway's Blackpool.
They did have Matt Phillips, though, and I always liked him.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah. So before we do wrap up, I'm going to play a quick video that's going to show you the running order of all the podcasts that live stream here on The Buzz.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what discord means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, switch.
Yeah, make sure that you go check out them while they are live or previous videos on our Facebook. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Jumped on me during the rundown.
Heard war and just started attacking. Yeah, make sure you go check out.
We are expecting you on the buzz.
Make sure you check out everything live on the buzz at WTBdotcom. That's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, go to the website, whatthebuzz.com, where you can read some fantastic articles written by some great people. If you want to see more of Casey and Jack, make sure you go follow at Mighty Whites Pod on Twitter. They live stream their Leeds United podcast onto Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Or if you want to listen to it as an audio file, you can get it everywhere other than Acast, because fuck you, Acast.
I don't like the way we say this, anything other than Acast, because it still feels like we're plugging Acast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're plugging Acast more than everything.
You can get our podcast from anywhere, apart from Acast. Fuck Acast.
But on that note, this has been Stand Your Ground, been joined by Casey and Jack.
Cheers.
See you later, mate.
And we'll see you next Sunday.